Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here in Lance's Performance Shop along the Mopars.com. Got kind of a quick standalone product review for you today, and this is a special one in the sense that it was a birthday gift. Running around the store trying to come up with things I thought were reasonable. They didn't have a lot of the things I would have gotten that were on sale or had promotions, and this was one. This is sort of from a line. Currently US General only offers these in blue. I always kind of figured they'd like expand the color selection. I don't know if they haven't fared well. I don't know if they think other colors would cross over with other brands and get confusing. Who knows? But there's essentially three offerings here. You've got a 10 3/4 tray, we'll just call it. It's about $9. This is the middle child, if you will, $13. And then you've got a really large one for $19.99, $20 if you will. Again, they even conveniently call this the medium ultra grip flexible parts tray. Part number again 58263. I was aware of these when they came out. I thought, that's, kind of interesting. I'm glad they're there. There's a lot of these that you constantly see. Again, I don't really have a lot of free time, so I haven't been on Instagram. But when I was on Instagram, all the time scrolling through things I actually follow, I would see ads for these. There's also a couple other companies. I ditched their newsletters in part because they were promoting stuff like this. I just got sick of it. People seem to like them. I personally haven't really used one where I actually thought of this coming in handy. Wouldn't be this one, maybe the large one, possibly this one. It would just depend on dimensions. But man, back in the fall, we had a demo brought out. It was a unicarrier, sort of like a spin-off Nissan forklift, I guess. And the cat, my beloved cat, which some idiots cracked the gland nut on, it's got flat surfaces. Like, to put it in perspective, if this is the seat, okay, you jump in and this is where you're sitting, this box, all right? This little Milwaukee knife is a flat area. You've got your four levers here. This is an expansive flat area. I set my phone, I set orders, I set picking tickets. When the drivers show up and they've actually got a delivery, they'll sometimes hand me, the tickets or whatever I need to sign. I set it there, pins, markers, whatever. Short of me driving out on a very windy day, which we frequently have, stuff flying away, it's just set. It's solid, rock solid, no issues. Again, paperwork, put something like this on it, no issues. Same with my phone. It's very important that I have my phone with me for pictures, particularly with freight damage, right? And I can't sit on it. So I have no issues with the cat. It's designed brilliantly. Think of this sort of like a square body. Think of it as, just nice flat surfaces. The thing on the unicarrier, number one, the brakes sort of were trippy. And the other thing that really drove me nuts with that thing was the curvature. I guess it would be more modern and sleek would be the words used to describe it. But what that means for me, the forklift operator, I don't have any flat surfaces to put my stuff, okay? Like on the cat, where we've got like literally inches of space. I mean, I'm talking, just if I had to guess, I probably got 6-8 inches, maybe more. And again, both sides, you can kind of pick your poison. On that one, you've sort of got, I don't know, maybe 3 to 4, but it's all of a sudden it's like a waterfall effect, and you just sheet forward and you sheet to the side, and everything that I set there is also going to sheet with it and go down and probably crack or break or get lost. So I thought of this stuff again because that's what I always got. Even the guy that delivered, he was like, oh, you could put something, because I was like, man, there's no flat space here. Like, instinctively, I hop up to, start the drive. Like, man, there's nowhere to put my phone. Even he said, like, oh, you may run on one of those silicone things. Or maybe I said it, and then he said, yeah, he'd seen people do. I don't know. But that's where I sort of thought of this. And then, quite frankly, I've always kind of wanted to try one. Here you can see it where you typically see them. Isn't necessarily in an engine bay like this. It's usually draped over a non-covered fender, which I don't know why people do that sort of thing. I get it, it's silicone, but when you weigh this down, with like a water pump or sockets or bolts or heavy items, and you don't take the time to ensure it's going to fall into the engine bay as opposed to out, that's bad. That's just prepare. Take care of things as if they were your own. Some of the stuff you see just... It's why I do things myself, I'll put it that way. But I'm excited to try this thing. I feel like the middle ground here, the small one's like really small. If you're familiar with these and you like them, it would be a good place, you know, to expand, in my opinion. Same thing with the big one. It's really big. So, you know, if you start somewhere, it makes sense to me to go here. And then if I love it, I'm like, man, you know, that little one would be really handy for this. Or, hey, you know, if I had the big one, it would fit here. So that's my summation of why we went with this one. Also, I felt like the price, it's not a huge jump from the small one. And it seemed like it was worth checking out. So Harbor Freight's U.S. General, their own words here, all-purpose tool organizer for working on cars, trucks, boats, and more. Again, possibly on the side of a forklift. Let me know if any of you run a unicarrier that's fairly recent. I haven't really followed the line. But, what do you do with your phone? Because I'm not the type. I hate, you know, like if this is the dip down where the seat brackets are or something, I don't want my phone. It just... No, I'm not that type. I want it flat. But let me know if you use anything like this or for other purposes, similar situations. Flexible silicone material grips to any surface, magnet-free without scratching it. I'm not worried about the silicone necessarily scratching. It's when you put heavy stuff in it, right? Or it awkwardly topples and it doesn't control what's heavy inside the silicone, right? So, yeah, it would be hard to drag this ratchet across there, but put it in a free-for-all, gravity takes over, and that item is going to move of its own accord. Stands up to motor oil and non-corrosive fluids with an easy-to-clean surface, so that is a perk if you're going to like use this for teardowns and stuff. Looks like the side panel has the same descriptions. Backside here, you just sort of get a larger picture, and more importantly, we get this. 10 by 9 by 11. Note the corners are kind of rounded off. But 10 by 9 by 11, we'll try to get a profile on the side there for you. This sucker is made in China. Wasn't sure where this would be made, actually. Of course, I would prefer a different country of origin, but it is a China-based product. So this is one of those things that's probably really hard to screw up, if I had to guess. And hopefully they've not done that, but we'll find out right now. The thing I probably will have issues with this is dust. Very, very dust, especially if I were to use one of these on the forklift type of a thing. The unicarrier was white. Again, I'm just used to that cat, you know, yellow. It's sort of clean, sort of modern, sort of like a mint with their unicarrier logo on there. This would be a nice splash of color, but I don't know that it would contour that well. You know, that's fairly thick, to the credit of the manufacturer. I'm sure that's by design. Maybe it would, but I feel like it's one of those things, like the way that thing is, it would kind of have to like sit like this. And if I put my phone here and the phone tilts, is it just going to roll off? Who knows? Again, I only bring that up. This is not going to work. This is for me here. But that's where I had wondered about these. And again, I had no experience with them. So basically, the way this is laid out, you've got 2 large compartments at the top. You've got 3 smaller compartments here at the bottom. You'll note that there is a cutout here. Now, the actual images they provide there, at least on the packaging, don't show anything going end to end. This file is going to turn out to be a little bit too large, but I'm just thinking of an extension, or yeah, really an extension. Maybe, you know, you've got like a fixed position magnet type of a thing, it would nest in there for you. These compartments, they're going to be good for small hardware. Obviously, let's say that you've got the water pump off your 5.9 Magnum. Those are going to be some long screws. They're not going to nest well in here. If you're coming in and you're maybe doing some valve cover stuff, sure, throw them down. If you got a little 1/4 by 1/2, 3/4, and 1 inch that you're messing around with, maybe assembly line situations, those would work very well. Flats, locks, and nuts, I'd say smaller than 1/2 would really be big and kind of stack out, but I'd say 1/4, 5/16, 3/8, pretty good. Maybe come up here, do some slightly larger stuff. The image actually showed sockets. Again, obviously you could come in and you could run, if you had large bolts, from the project, you could set them there as you tear down. Also, if it's an assembly, you come pull out your hardware that you're going to need for the process, throw it down. What I was really sad about, earlier this week, I came out and built the big birthday item, which was the Chicago electric welding cabinet. It dawned on me I could have used this and I left it in the house. I didn't feel like running back in the house and getting it, but it would have been perfect for that. I typically use Ernst trays, but that thing turned out to be like 96% screws. They were exactly the same length. Couldn't really screw that up, so would have been nice, but not necessary. So picture again a ratchet, maybe an extension, maybe a long bolt. Who knows, just maybe you need something elevated off because it's wet. You do have dividers here. I'm hoping, yeah, that actually shows up really well. So here on your scale, you've got basically a 7-inch ruler. Again, maybe you start at the 1 and just confirm like, okay, hey, 1 to 3.5, that's going to be 2.5-inch bolt. Sometimes, with this lip here, you might not get something flush. Down here, you've got centimeters. So I guess that would work well for you metric people. You got the US General logo in the middle. These 5 slots seem to be the same, so it's not like it's tiered. For example, quarter, 5/16, 3/8, 7/16, half type of a socket. It's just standard dimensions. What's handy here on the side is this philo, so we're going to grab it. Again, note, it will fit well there. Let's go with the de facto standard. So for me, that's going to be a number 2 Phillips. This is going to be stereotypical setup with 4-inch shaft. Obviously, it's going to sit in there okay. Same thing here. A little bit oversized, I would say. Corner to corner, it's going to fit, but then you've kind of killed your footprint. But you get the idea. For precision stuff, well, I actually have some of these handy. So, yeah, I mean, these will nest in quite nicely. Again, it's entirely dependent upon what you're doing and what you're currently up to as to how well this will or won't work. Marker is going to nest nice. If we come in, our box cutter, obviously it's going to fit. Cutex is behind me, so we kind of come back to this guy. But you get the idea, just small parts, right? That's what it's going to do. Do we have... let's grab this, it's handy. So you kind of get the idea. Maybe if you had T20, T25 stuff spaced out, hardware, boom, self-tapper, some crown nuts, just whatever it is. I do think, if I had to be honest, like I would want to run smaller hardware in this. I wouldn't want to say do 5/8 or 3/4 stuff. You certainly could, but it's going to fill it up real fast. This would be really, really good for small things. Again, pair of pliers here. It's a small pair, but it fits nicely. So just kind of picture whatever it is you're into, what you would do, and for the price, I don't really know that you can go wrong. Again, there's the lip. Backside here is smooth. Obviously, it's going to pick stuff up. This is its own packing here. And then all this was crud on the mat. Could be from that packaging as well. But that's the downside. And then again, yeah, this might not slip off, but you've got sand and silica and dust and dirt. And so if you throw this down on a nice paint job and it just kind of shimmies a little bit, or you bump it, when you grab something off of it, not good for the paint blow. So again, I am a stickler for that stuff. Some people don't care. I do. Hopefully you do as well. But yeah, all this type of stuff, small drill bits, again, gonna fit real nice. Mints, I've got a ton of screws here. So you get the idea, right? I mean, there's not much more I can do. You're gonna have to use your imagination, and you can do that by leaving a comment, because I know for a fact we're late to the game with the US General ones, but we're late to the game to this stuff in general. Most of you have either bought these and tried them, be it Harbor Freight, Grippy Mat, some other generic equivalent. I don't really know who initiated them, who started them. I don't care, to be honest with you. Just putting that bluntly out there. But the bottom line is most of you, whether it's at work or at home, have a lot of experience with this type of thing, be it small, this size, big, massive. Maybe, you know, you have a foreman or administrator at work that's like, hey, that's going to be perfect for this job, and that's where you're at. Let people know, how do you like these? What do you do with them? What have you found to do with them? Do you have any issues? If you've used multiple brands, like, be honest, maybe you had something and you hated the color. US General came out and you're like, man, that blue is way better. Or maybe you started with this and you're like, man, you know, I actually do like these. And then you've since researched it, found different brands, different colors. Whatever the story might be, feel free to share your expertise, because again, all I can offer you on this is what it is, this is how it measures, and once more, I'll have to use it in the real world. So they're going, I think they said, what, 9 by 10 by 11? I don't know where I set that. It's up here. Yeah, 10 by 9 by 11, so interesting dimensions there. We'll call this the 10. That means they must call this the 9. I guess if you squash her in a little bit, you can get that. And then 11, yeah, who knows where that came from. But side profile, we're going to call 3/4 of an inch on that lip. And then again, the actual functional depth is going to be a little bit less than that, I would venture to guess. So we would say, might actually be more, just a shade over 3/4. But basically, anything higher than 3/4 of an inch, be prepared for it to extend upward. If that's a big deal, again, classic Stanley. No issues fitting that, small parts, you've seen it all. What more can I show you? I do actually look forward to using this again. It killed me not having it the other night, because it would have been awesome. It's much more compact than the Ernst trays I usually use. And truth be told, that thing didn't have a ton of hardware, and it was primarily all exactly the same. So don't need a ton of divisions there. But with that said, you probably literally are going to be of more use than me in this. So once again, your thoughts, opinions, particularly first-hand experience with this, with similar products, with all of the products. Some of you might be super into these. Let me know. Again, pros, cons of each, what you like best, what the best value is. Some of them just flat out suck. But yeah, if you see me bring in the smaller $8.99 or the larger $19.99, you're going to know that means I like this one. But for me, this was the Goldilocks deal. It actually seemed to be just the right size. That one's a little too small to be functional for most things. This one I felt like you're making too big of a commitment, right? Like you're sort of rushing to marriage before you've done the dates, you know, type of a thing. So, plus it's a great color. So would I love to see it in orange, yellow, green, all the US General colors? Absolutely. Is blue a great start point for me? 100%. Some of you might say black. Some of you might, you know, prefer a different color. White's going to get really dirty. Black is just not going to stand out as well. You're going to have really good contrast with this on most work surfaces, be it a, you know, rubber mat, be it your bed liner top, be it a stainless top, be it a wood workbench, be it in an engine bay. This is going to provide great contrast. So, with that said, I will quit rambling. I'm excited to use this. Thanks, Mom, for a cool birthday gift. Hopefully it turns out to be neat, at least the way I'm envisioning it. But yeah, your thoughts and opinions here are definitely going to be helpful to folks, so feel free to share your expertise. With that said, hope you enjoyed. Hope you're having a great week. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. Most importantly, I hope I catch you back here for more action from the shop.